using a cycle lane around what looked like a rather large obstacle.
Gets his head down, he's in a tight trying position.
This is the Domestiques, presented by Black Sheep Cycling.
On today's pod, the UCI are coming for our padded bras. Free Blasi hits fever pitch, and a race not even the winner could have dreamed of. Welcome back to the Domestiques daily Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift daily pods. My name is Matilda Reynolds. A big thank you to Black Sheep and Join Cycling for powering these daily pods. A quick update on the podium of the Black Sheep Fantasy League. We're recording this straight after stage 3, so it hasn't kicked in yet, but Sarah Gigante's Strava descriptions is on the top.
I rate the
at
name.
the moment. We've got TDF Sans Hom, so no men. In second, P's Peloton, which is V's partner, is in third. Purdy. Going down, we've got Femmes United, FOMO Fanatics, Couch Keno. I wonder if that's Matt Keenan. He's
Hang
in
on,
8th.
you skipped my brother. He's in 5th. Scott's tier squad.
Scott's tier squad. So we've got all our family and friends involved. The demigods, I did like that one, in 9th. So we will give an update after stage 3 if that changed it. Says, happy Monday. Take us behind the scenes of how a professional cyclist does their Monday.
Well, normally I would say Mondays are for recovery rides, but today I had 4 hours on the program, so not sticking to the rules I used to have as a junior and also even an elite cyclist in Australia. It was always Mondays and Fridays, no matter
Correct.
what, easy,
Correct.
always easy. Like,
Yeah. It's
not
the Bible.
having an easy Monday is like, I don't know, doing something terrible. But yeah, today I really enjoyed my ride. I kind of killed my ride buddy, so on that update, everyone pulled out on me at like 9:30 p.m. last night. I've had 3 people coming with me every day, which is great. Jack, Max, and Dylan. And 9:30 p.m. I hear all 3 of them pull out. Luckily, I'm really, really close with Dylan, so I was able to guilt him into coming today. So he got himself around the loop, but I think he'll be having a rest day tomorrow. But it was an awesome day. Came home in time for... I'm doing some cat sitting, a nice side hustle this week, which is amazing because I miss my cat. So did a little bit of cat sitting and then straight to watch the tour, and it was another good stage.
Says, just give us an update on where you're at physically, like at your peak, say this time last year, Tour de France. Where are you to that? Is it like 50% of that, 60%? Where are you at with your form at the moment coming back?
Well, it's really hard to put a number on it because I've been riding like so much. I'd say like I've probably averaged more hours per week this year than last year. Even with a couple of weeks off for the surgery. I mean, for sure, nearly every week has been over 20 hours this year, which sounds a bit weird when I say I haven't raced and I say I've been in pain all year and this and that. But yeah, I've actually ridden a ton. I feel like if I could race Unbound next week, maybe Unbound XL, then I'd do pretty well. But the problem is when I say I've been riding 20 hours a week or more, it's all been endurance because, obviously riding with pain isn't great. Don't do that, kids listening at home. A lot of the time I was able to do endurance pain-free, so that's why I was able to ride so much. So I think it's too hard to say. I feel really fit. Like when I'm riding with my ride buddies, I feel great. But yeah, I think if we had to do like a 5-minute effort or even worse, a 1-minute effort, I would almost die. So definitely time to start adding in some intensity soon, I think, so that I can get myself a little bit more race fit rather than just chucking on Strava fit.
Well, Verita Stewart rejoins us. The countdown is on for the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift, and you are out there doing repeats of outdoors at the moment, V.
Yeah, I love outerwears. So went up again today. The 21 Lissettes as you cruise on up. It's actually quite an easy climb. It's I think it's about 13 or 14 Ks and 21 hairpins. So it's really fun. It's really fun. It's really picturesque. And yeah, why not do it again? I'm here, so may as well. And yeah, feeling good.
I can't believe you just said it was easy. I just remember almost dying when I was racing up that thing 2 years ago in the tour.
No. That's the difference. That's racing up it. I think I went up it at 120 watts. It was easy. I would just cruise. So no,
You're
and
on
it's
good
beautiful.
form.
Yeah, just soaking it up. Don't want to kill myself before the tap.
Well, I had a far more relaxing Monday. I did it in traditional style of having a day off the bike as per the rules in Australia. I left Switzerland, took the train to Avignon. The trains are bloody delightful in Europe. They're so relaxing at 200, like over 200k an hour. They did charge me though $5 Australian for some hot water, but give and take. The Swiss, they'll get you. Consumed a bit of culture today in Avignon. I checked out, they have this amazing 4-kilometer La Rampats around the old town. It's among like the best preserved medieval city walls in France. So it completely encircles the historic old town centre. It was built in the 1300s. So the entire suburb is still behind this massive castle stone wall. And then I took a taxi to Vaison-la-Romaine, which is near the base of Mont Ventoux. And I'll be here till the race arrives now on stage 7. But says you'd love in Old Town Girona to be encircled by castle walls to keep out those peasant cyclists where you are.
I was just thinking that when you said a city enclosed by walls. But yeah, now that I can walk again without it hurting, then I've gone and done my trusty walk around the walls. It's lovely. Always, whenever a friend comes here as a tourist, I'm always like, okay, I'll do my occasional walk. I normally don't walk much, but I'm really loving being able to walk without a limp again. So now that I've got some friends over, I'm like, okay, let's go walking.
Well, we'll just quickly kick this off. We're just going to touch on this quickly again because we do need to make a bit of noise about it. We're going to have to reverse over it again because it is crazy that we are here again. The race today, stage 3, only showed the coverage. So the coverage, it's not up to the broadcasters, so SBS. They can only show what they are given by the race organisers. So they are literally all set up, waiting and ready to go until they are shown live pictures. And today, for stage 3, we only got the last 70 kilometres of the biggest bike race in the world. As a reminder, the Pro Velo Melbourne to Warrnambool has more coverage than this. It makes you want to vomit with frustration, V, that we are still having this conversation.
Yeah, we are. And Purdy said, don't monologue, but I feel like I'm about to have a little monologue here. Tuning in at 80k to go was pretty disappointing, especially knowing what we missed. We followed along on Pro Cycling Stats and, I definitely resisted downloading X again just to get some updates. But, we missed so much excitement and I'm sure we'll touch on it. But, women have shorter stages and that breeds excitement. It breeds exciting racing, and we just missed out on that. Big brands, they're putting in huge money, like Red Bull, Lidl, Zwift, Visma, Specialized, Canyon, SRAM. They're putting in big money into this sport, and they wouldn't do it if they didn't think that there was return on investment. The thing is, we're here, we're consuming media, and sports media thrives, and it thrives on narrative. And that's what we're missing out on here. We're missing out on the stories. Look at the blow up of Blasi. It just proves that we are in it and we are, the forefront of telling stories of women's sport. And we're just missing out by not having the coverage. The ASO, I'm sure they'll say, there's not that many people tuning in early on. I think that is so narrow-minded. Limiting coverage is just limiting all the impressions that we can get, the visibility for sponsors, for teams, and for us fans. I just don't get it. they're building it, and we have come. Why aren't they giving it to us? I honestly just don't get it anymore. It's crazy that you've got, this sport that seems so elevated at the moment, and people are putting money into it. Riders are getting paid more and more. Brands are wanting to invest. And the ASO are just like, oh, no, don't worry about it. We don't need to show the first 70Ks. It's fine. I don't know. We have this conversation. I feel like we have it a lot. But, it's one of those things that, we're here for it. Build it and they will come. And we're here. Give it to us.
We're standing outside the stadium waiting for it to open. Says, how is it from the riders' point of view? Do you guys... I always felt sometimes when I was in the bunch, you knew when the TV was starting, the helicopter comes around and it does lift the energy in the bunch. There's a little bit more excitement. You're potentially going to put on a show. Do you think that I'll ask, do the riders, does it impact the type of racing you do before or after the coverage, or does it not come into your mind, the coverage?
I think it doesn't influence it too much, but I still think it makes a difference. Like, what's the point of a TV breakaway if there's no TV, right? There are tons of fans on the side of the road, but they're not really, they can't really advertise to your sponsors for you. They don't really mind who comes through. They're just happy cheering like crazy. So, yeah, for sure, the TV exposure is huge. And I think, especially for the smaller teams whose goal might be to just maximize TV exposure on that day, what's the point in wasting your energy attacking when you might just get caught before anyone even sees it? So for sure, a little bit. I have to say, on a personal note, sometimes you feel that breeze with the helicopter and the noise, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go from last wheel to fifth last wheel, because now everyone can see me. So I do feel like there's a little bit of pressure. At least I feel a little bit. So maybe the other riders also feel that.
Probably what is most devastating is Ventoux. The Queen stage is not being shown end to end. I know they are showing the last two stages, but Ventoux, just that no amount of why doesn't make sense. I did ask, we had an ASO guy with us yesterday who was riding with us, one of the main guys out of the family, and he said it was because of television programming, and I didn't push it any further, which I need to, but do we really need the fucking French version of Days of Our Lives before the biggest stage race in this era of the Tour de France Femmes? And to your point, B, I think having a bit of a taste of what it's like here, it is unbelievable how hard people are working to make noise about this event, to get it out there, and the entire call out for this event is watch Les Femmes, and when you cannot watch Les Femmes, it makes it extremely difficult.
I think yeah, you go, B.
I just think it's funny. In Australia, you can pause, an episode of Home and Away for the AFL, it just goes to the next day. It's like, why are we using an excuse of television programming? It's something else. The whole infrastructure of the race is set up there. It's, the helicopter's in the sky, the cars are on the road, the moto is there with his camera. It's like, can't we just switch it on a little bit early? How do we campaign to get this done? I don't know. Sorry, Sarah, I cut you off.
Oh, yeah, well, I agree with that. Plus, the TV programming is different in every country. So if France is so obsessed with watching Days of Their Lives en français, well, we can still have the coverage and watch in every other country that would prefer to watch the cycling. Or we can, even if we had to do what they do for some of the cycling in Australia, I think, in summer. Don't they do the first hour online and then, or on a smaller channel, and then you can change to the main channel?
Yeah, you watch it on demand. Because
exactly.
they are filming it anyway, because they do a highlights package. So it's actually being filmed, but just on a smaller scale. But anyway, I know this is potentially really boring for so many of our listeners, because we've gone on about it for so long, and so many times, but it is just really important, team, that we do need to make a noise about it, because nothing will change if we don't. So thank you for bearing with us. Let's get into it, because there was a lot going on today's stage and it was difficult to follow. We were all of us updating different apps. As you said, V, God, we went back to the stone age of having to get back on Twitter and X and trying to find out what was going on. Stage 3. 156 kilometers, 2,500 meters of climbing, a Cat 1 climb straight away. We start directly up Col de la Fosse. We enter France. There was a crash by 4 massive names, Demi Vollering, Naomi Rugg, Puck Petersay, and Magdalene Vardier, all come down in a crash near the back of the bunch. All of them get back up. They get into the bunch. We see Marva Squiban also struggling from UAE. And then near the top of the climb, the steepest part of the climb was between the last 2 kilometers. The sprinters start dropping. And this is where there can be a real issue with live coverage and apps. It looked like the sprinters only had a few seconds and they'd get back on, but then within like the next update, they were like a minute 30 behind. So, including the yellow jersey of Lorena Wiebes, her reign was no more. Puck Petersay takes the maximum QOM points over the top, and a big bunch gets away, including Kopecky, Jakira, Lippert, Géry, Rosa Closer, Lucinda Brand, Louis Adegeist, just to name a few, who got into a breakaway, but the peloton wouldn't let it go. We didn't see it, but we can only assume EF were chasing for Rug because they didn't have anyone in the break. That bunch comes back together, but Sigrid Haugset from X, she went again and she gets a gap. The Norwegian national champ quickly got a minute up the road again before, who was, I think, in the original break, actually. Lotte Kopecky, who was in the original break, then jumps out of the peloton again. Paola Blasi was pulling at the front of the peloton at that stage, and the break blew out to 5 minutes with Lotte and Sigrid up the road, still separately riding individually before FDJ started pulling at the front with Visma. Little Trek would have been spewing that they did not jump into that second break. The break came down to 2 minutes 45 at 23 kilometers because Kim Lecourt kicked off a frenzy for the GC fight. The peloton was in pieces, riders scrambling to get across to the GC favourites, who are now chasing the breakaway. Paola Blasi missed the move, as did Holmgren, as did Fisher Black, and the Van der Breggen. Where the hell was she? She went MIA and no one could find her. 7Ks to go. Lotte Kopecky is about to touch Sigrid in the lead at only 15 seconds. The GC favourites give up the chase and the pendulum swings the other way. Sigrid extends the gap on Lotte Kopecky. She attacked with 88 kilometres to go. Sigrid, I love calling her Wooshka, from X, not only rose her way to taking her first professional World Tour win, but wins stage 3, takes the maillot jaune for the first time for X at La Femmes. She could not have even dreamed it. What a result. What a stage. Let's hear from the winner now.
A great few minutes of the podium ceremony. Tell us, how was it?
I don't know. It's like having my family here, with the teammates cheering. It's fantastic.
Yes, it was so emotional.
Yeah.
When did you realize you were the yellow jersey and what was your reaction?
Well, I didn't think about that. First of all, we have looked at this stage, and this was the goal for this tour, the third stage. I called my father. He's having birthday today, and I told him I will get you some flowers today. But I was thinking more competitive, but it's amazing.
What a present from him.
Yeah.
Do you start thinking about tomorrow's stage with the yellow jersey?
Well, tomorrow is a TT, and I was gonna have a TT rest day, but I'm gonna enjoy it anyways.
Is the TT something you like or not?
Yeah, but I haven't had any. I haven't worked on it this year, so I will just enjoy.
So see you tomorrow. Enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks.
How was stage 3?
Yeah, really, what an amazing ride by Sigrid Haugset. I think that was such a surprise, not only for us as viewers right to the end, but also to her. To hear that interview just now with her saying it was more than she dreamed of, it really warms your heart. And also just seeing her so happy on the podium. I really have to say it was such a show of mental resilience as well as physical strength. Like when she said she heard Lotte Kopecky was bridging over, quite quickly, relatively quickly. And you know how amazing Lotte Kopecky is. She said when she heard Kopecky was coming that, you know, she was almost resigning herself to being caught, but thought, oh, second would still be an amazing result. And to just, you know, not sit up straight away and wait for her. Even later on, the gap was like 10 seconds and she still persisted. And at that point, it's not just a matter of pushing through the pain, but it's also weighing up your options. It's like you could sit up and then you can work with someone. You're actually more likely to get top two than if you go on solo and maybe the peloton will catch both of you. But, you know, she risked that second place to go for the win and it really paid off. Like, amazing. And, yeah, I think it's by far the longest breakaway win we've had at the Tour de France Femmes, including the old edition. She broke Fabiana Luperini's record from 1995, which was 89 kilometers solo. She did 89 today, and Luperini won with a 71 kilometer solo. So that took 31 years for that spread.
Huska, did you think she was going to make it?
Oh, did I think she was going to make it? I was hoping she was going to make it. I was willing her to the line, I tell you now. It's funny because, you know, we said yesterday, Uno X, you know, where have they been? Well, this is where they were. It sounds like they were kind of targeting this kind of thing. And stage 3 was a real goal for them. And, you know, they conserve their energy with this one goal. And it's really nice to see. I'm so happy for them. And it's just interesting because, you know, we mentioned the other day that Trek were desperate for their win, right? They're desperate for it. They're almost too desperate for it.
Exactly.
Like, they were nowhere today.
Yeah.
They had Brand going for it earlier on before the coverage started, but that was it. It didn't work. It was too big. And I think, you know, it just shows strength from these small teams. They've got strong riders and they've got some good tactics going, and they don't have to be desperate. They have to be patient. But God, when she was going through that little small town and it looked like she was about to just like slide off her bike, I was going, no, just stay upright, please, because it was thrilling. What did you think of it, Tills?
Oh, she looked like she had a multiple lives, says. It looks like she was coming back from the dead, wasn't she? I just can't believe Lotte was right there. Like, I'm a Lotte fan, so I was actually going for Kopecky. I wanted Kopecky to win the stage today, and just with everything she's been through, and I miss peak Kopecky at the moment, so I think I would have loved to have seen her. But I think the stories that come out of this, UNOX being a second tier team, and to then be also in the yellow jersey. But I do love, you just brought it up then, V, exactly, the little Trek throwing everything at everything and nothing's sticking. And UNOX, we heard in that interview saying that we targeted this stage, which it did make sense if they could get rid of Lorena, and then also potentially there not be a GC battle because of the time trial tomorrow, then it did have the potential for a breakaway, particularly with the parkour. But says, what did you think of your team? One of the most dynamic riders in the race today was Kim LaCourte in front of what's going to be a really tough stage for her tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't think we can ignore the fact that GC group, when it was quite a big peloton, completely sat up and let Haugset get out to about 5 minutes very, very quickly. And also Kopecky was minutes up the road as well. So I thought that was interesting. And then we did see Visma, helped a little bit by FDJ, come to the front and start working to try and close it. But, I mean, at that point, they would have had to close over a minute per 10 kilometers, which I know it's not the golden rule, but it's a pretty good rule. And Sigrid Haugset was really strong. So they already left it late, Visma and FDJ, but I was really surprised not to see, AJ and Sudal also join in, because we had, I think, at least 5 riders in that front group, or that bunch. And if Kim could have got to the line within about a minute of the stage winner, then she would have been wearing the yellow jersey tomorrow. And of course, I hope, and really we think that Kim will or might be able to wear yellow again, and hopefully yeah, she'll be wearing it in Nice at the end of the stage at the tour. But like, you don't really want to waste an opportunity to wear yellow because you never know when it will come again. So I think they were a little bit disappointed that Visma didn't pull harder to try and bring back that gap. I think that's what my team was doing. They were relying on Visma wanting the stage win for Voss, but yeah, I think Visma's so focused on Ferrand Prevot that they would have liked the stage win, but they weren't all in for it the way that I thought maybe my own team would be all in for Eva taking the yellow, but also hopefully taking the stage win. Kim was so strong, though. I have to say, the whole team
she's
they
looking in
rode
good
really
form.
well. Yeah, Kim was really strong. She got the bonus seconds that were left over on that short, sharp climb. We saw the guy dive for a bidden and accidentally end up in a ditch, which was a bit of extra entertainment. I think he's gone viral now. Hopefully he's okay. But it was interesting to see just from those attacks that Kim did, just how much she was able to destroy a lot of the GC riders, actually. Like you said, Van der Breggen was in Narnia, including on the tour tracker. We really had no idea what happened to her. She didn't lose time in the end, which is important. But yeah, I don't know if it's the best omen. But tomorrow's the time trial, so she's going to prove me wrong, I'm sure. Also,
do you think that
Blasi was dropped. Yeah.
Do you think that maybe AG or a lot of them thought that they could pull back a significantly more amount of time than they actually did on that climb? Because the way they were riding so hard, I was just thinking, like, do they think that they're going to use this as a launch pad and just keep going? And maybe they didn't realize the time was like so far out, because like you said, I thought there was an opportunity for Kim to maybe get the yellow jersey, but the time just wasn't going down enough. And the way they were bloody hooking through that village and into that climb and bowled that dude down the down the ditch. But you know, like, they were going for it. Like, they were all having cracks. Kazia, Kim LaCourte was doing it, Demi, they were all pushing really hard. Like, do you think maybe they thought they could make some time back?
I think they would have known the time gap just because it's such a big race. I doubt the communication was bad, plus they would have said afterwards. But I do agree with you that I think they thought they could close that gap. They don't know Sigrid Haugset very well. Kopecky hasn't been on her best form, so maybe they were just, a bit overconfident, and they were almost racing the way you'd race if the gap was, a minute. And so, if I go really, really hard up this short climb. Also, they were racing for the bonus seconds, but there were only 4 left at that point because there were 2 riders up the road. So, yeah, I think if you race really hard up a short, steep climb and you're expecting the 2 out front to be absolutely cooked at that point, they've done about 70 Ks in the heat solo. I think they did think the gap would come down faster.
Well, it's also actually how she won the national championship of Norway. She actually did a long-range attack of over 70 kilometres. So
112. When you say long range,
so, yeah, long range, exactly.
Whoa.
So she has a name for this. So I think the team, they were pushing her across the line. But hearing from both of you, it did, particularly because these riders dropped Weebus, and there's not as many opportunities for them, because it then gets really hard with the GC riders, that this was a real missed opportunity for the likes of Rug, LaCourte, Voss. Koch has come back to life, Francie Koch, and Jury. We both saw them, the desperation, and then seeing that the race had just completely gotten away from them.
Maybe one silver lining for my team, I think Kim might like that she's in her own skin suit for tomorrow. So maybe that was the ploy. She didn't want to go into the organisation skin suit. Maybe it was the wrong size. You never know how many wrinkles it might have. We're playing the long game. So we need Kim in yellow on Sunday night.
Correct. If you don't want to miss getting across the line first, be sure to click on join.cc/domestiques. Put in your availability, running or cycling, and they will help you reach your goal. You can try it for free for 30 days, no credit card details required. team, before we get on to one of the most important stages from this tour, the time trial in Dijon. This came across our desk, says overnight, free the nips.
Yes.
The jury, Tour de France Femmes, attention cyclists, abuse their cup size. Several Women's World Tour teams have indicated to Wheel of Fits that they are disturbed by how some cyclists abuse their chest size in time trials by faking a larger cup size with padding in a bra. They managed to create an aerodynamic advantage for the time trial. The artificial adjustment of clothing is prohibited, according to the regulations of the UCI. What is being coined as bra maxing, that is oversized bras stuffed with padding, are gaining free watts by creating an aero fairing. Says and V's, unfortunately, I don't think you two could get away with this. But what are the UCI going to be doing next? Patting down riders like they're the TSA at the airport security? I'm going to put in my order with Black Sheep. I'm going to put in my order for a padded bra, skin suit, melon size.
I did see a suggestion that a female commissaire could check riders in a tent straight after the time trial. So I don't know about that, but I'm not so sure those teams are too far off the mark, because I remember watching the Paris Olympic TT and some of the riders definitely looked a little bit different to how they normally looked.
No, they need to stick to weighing bikes. Far out. Like, this is just such a blow up.
No,
you
but
can't
at the Com Games just a few days ago, do you guys follow much of the track cycling? But poor Felicity Wilson-Hafford and Sophie Edwards, they were both disqualified in the individual pursuit for probably smaller infractions. Felicity, who rides for Little Trek, she just had some shoulder taping due to an injury, apparently, and that was underneath her skin suit, whereas Sophie Edwards was wearing a helmet that was too large, and they'd added padding so that she could fit into this helmet that was bigger and therefore more aero. So we definitely do see the UCI on top of, looking out for any extra aerodynamic advantages. We saw the ice socks being called out in the men's Tour de France in their team time trial. So, yeah, I do think you have to be careful if you just allow a free-for-all. Like, who knows what people will be sticking down their skin suits next. So, on one hand, I can definitely understand why it's being, raised. But, yeah, it is a bit of a tricky situation. Like, how thick is your bra even allowed to be? Are they going to be like, oh, you're allowed this type, or everyone has to have this exact bra? I don't know.
Oh, you're going to have a
talking,
biological passport that's just your measurements,
Yeah,
what are you going to do?
exactly.
It can only be one cup. What about when you're on your period and your bloody boobs get a tiny bit bigger? Like, seriously, This is so bad. They should be sticking to not having safe roads and not having random curbs and random furniture. Like, just stay in your lane. Just stay in your lane. Makes me so angry.
Well, talking of free the nips, free Blasi. Well, the hashtag is hitting fever pitch. The Spanish are ready to take to the streets with the bulls over this. But though says, I relate to them. Like, if you were in this position, we would go for you. We would be out there. We would be picketing. We'd be protesting at the buses if you were locked down like this.
Handing out flyers on the corners.
Yeah. We'd be having petitions.
She must feel supported by at least her nation, even if not her team.
Well, on that, I do want to insert here for the listeners a song that is going to get stuck in your head. Let's have a listen to
my new favourite hit.
The Spanish hit, Free Blasi.
Now the rumors getting loud, round and round through every town. Leave the team, lose the crown.
But says, I want you to take us behind just really quickly on the Blasi. I imagine it's quite difficult for Paola as well, that she's in the white jersey, so she actually has to do media before and after every stage. And take us through, though, as a rider, you've done a lot of media, you've been in that position as well, and then how many like team meetings you're having, how much time you're spending with the team as well, because V, I think you had a great point yesterday, but losing Brodie from that team, I think she would have provided a bit of a circuit breaker for that team. She's such a wonderful personality, Broads. And I think she's a rider, you don't just want to be on her wheel, you want to have her around you majority of the time. And I can only imagine the intensity in this, and awkwardness in this team has risen overnight.
Yeah, I think the interviews, for anyone having to do daily interviews, it's a lot. Like, even the Tour Down Under 2024, it was 2.5 years ago, and I still remember how exhausted my teammate Ali Wollaston was on stage 2, just from all the hype around stage 1, all the interviews. She got back to the hotel so much later than us. Same thing happened at the Tour de France last year. I mean, Kim was a champion with it all. Like, somehow she was able to back up day after day, despite the hype and the pressure in the interviews. But we were all getting on the bus, having showers, eating our recovery meals, back to the hotel, legs up, massage, chill out. Kim would turn up halfway through dinner, like still in her kit, exhausted, still hasn't had a shower, really late massage. So it sure takes a lot out of you. And then add to the fact that the interviews for Blasi aren't the most pleasant or easy interviews. It's not like Sigrid Haugset's interview today where she can just say, yeah, this is amazing, everything is going so well. Like, she's being grilled in the interviews, and so too are some of the staff on her team. So yeah, I think it would be pretty hard to navigate. She's doing very well. I have to say, all her answers have been very, politically correct. And yeah, hats off to her for trying to manage it as best as possible. But even with the great job she's doing, I'm sure it's hard. I saw her on the front today, pulling on the front in the white jersey, and my heart did sink a little bit, because part of me really wants her to be able to, go for the GC. But yeah, I think we'll know a lot more tomorrow when we see if she's allowed by her team to try or not in the time trial. If not, then I think she's going to fully commit to being a domestique, and she looks like she's probably going down that road. She looks like, riding really selflessly, despite being in the white jersey, despite having those inner ambitions, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm still hoping that she's able to at least, keep herself around the mark, even if Dominika and Dominika Wlodczek and Longo Borghini are the leaders. I'm hoping, she can just hang close by, but we'll know more this time tomorrow.
We did hear her say, though, in this interview today that the white jersey was never the goal, or that she didn't expect to be in it. So if you don't expect to be the best young rider, then you probably don't expect to be the best rider overall.
Yeah, and I think you probably touched on something there, Sarah, like, maybe she was just going to be a helper, and then, she's on the front pulling now, riding really selflessly. She probably has these personal ambitions and thinks, if she can hang in that top 10 and above, that's a bonus for her. But yeah, it's kind of sad seeing the white jersey working so hard. And, to her credit, she's been chipper in the interviews that she's kind of been in. And, even though she's getting hounded by the press, and this is the media storm that this sport is generating, all eyes are on her and UAE. And, that's good publicity for them in some ways. But like you said, it's extra pressure and it makes it a heap harder. So, yeah, I just hope that she's doing okay, really. It would be a really hard situation to be in. And she's riding really well. Hopefully she gets to have a squirt in the TT and just show herself. And, it's kind of like, what did you say the other day? The road does the talking, or your legs do the talking, that's kind of it. Maybe it plays out in the end.
She said she wasn't expecting to be in white, but maybe that's just because the organisation did a last minute change of the rules on Friday to change
True.
the gear.
Yeah, she did. She did jump on the bus and miss the ceremony on the first day that we mentioned. But Vodacek, and hey, we take nothing away from Dominika Vodacek either. I do understand it from the team at times that she is the one they are investing in, and that Blasi is leaving the team. So look, the team's probably had a bit of an unwanted negative attention. They're going to really want to be able to turn that around and show some positive results, whether that be Paula or they'll be really banking on hopefully Vodacek, how she goes tomorrow, who's currently 30 seconds off Blasi. But let's talk stage for one of the most important stages, and one that we are just like really excited to know because there's so many unknowns. It's been over 2 years absent since we had a time trial for the Tour de France Femmes, and because we haven't had a time trial in the biggest race for the women, it means that so many women haven't focused on it. So unless you were the likes of a Grace Brown, who was trying to go for an Olympics, or you're a pure time trialist, then there wasn't as big a incentive. And you know more than anyone says the amount of specific work you have to do for the time trial. And that's why it's just such an unknown for so many of the riders who we would usually say, are going to be in that top 6, top 10 GC. But it's 21 kilometers, a bit over 260 meters of climbing. Says, I'd love to get your idea around how long you think it is. 27 and a half minutes. Dunno, over 45k an hour. You're two-time Australian national time trialist. What are your thoughts on tomorrow?
Well, if you say 27 and a half, I'll go 27. I think they're going to be pretty speedy.
Yeah.
I'm really keen to see how Anna van der Breggen does after not quite looking her best today, but we know that she's a bit more of a diesel. We saw it in the Giro. Perhaps those short, sharp punches aren't quite her thing, but a 27, 15-second time trial might be right up her alley tomorrow. I still think Marlen for the win, and I know I was also hoping Zoe Backstead might be an underdog win, a non-GC rider, but I just think that climb, 2K, 6%, I think it does, swing the needle a little bit too much in the favour of Marlen Reusser. But I'm not so interested in who wins the stage. I think that would be cool to see, but I'm way more keen to see how much time does Pauline Ferrand lose? How much time does... Well, maybe she won't lose any. Prove me wrong, Kim. That would be great. But how much time does Kim Lecourt lose after looking so strong today? Kasia Niewiadoma. What about in the UAE team? How will Longo Borghini go? Can Paula Blasi, ride in the time trial bars pain-free after that nasty crash she had the day before the Spanish Nationals where she hurt her ribs? What about Dominika Vodacek? Will she come up on top out of that team? I mean, there's so much going on tomorrow, so I'm really keen to see what happens.
Well, one of the things I wanted to check as well is just how all the favourites, they're all sort of messed around a little bit within the top sort of 15 of the GC, and that's going to change when they get to go off from the mark. And so looking at where a couple of the riders are at the moment, it doesn't help Kim Lecourt. Says she's going to go after Vollering, so I don't think she'll be able to catch her, but Vollering goes after Naomi Rugg and Marianne Vos. So she's going to have two riders in front of her that she could potentially catch because neither of them are actually going to be going all in on it. And that means she gets to draft off their team car, gets to draft off the rider for a moment, gets to have a rabbit in front of them. So Demi's in a really good position for tomorrow. The other rider is Marlen Reusser. So Marlen has Neve Fisher-Black in front of her, whether she can get her as well. She doesn't have as many as Demi Vollering because after that comes Paola Blasi. You wouldn't expect she'd be able to get to her, Marlen as well. But Paola actually has Marvi Garcia in front of her. So if you were doing team tactics, you would be saying, Marvi, you're not going to go that fast, and we're going to be able to use the team car and you to propel Paola forward. And then the other one, obviously Reusser there, which I mentioned, and Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, she is going behind Reusser, so she will get no help out of this TT. V, how do you reckon that plays out?
Oh gosh, it's a really tough one. I think I I have hopes for Anna van der Breggen, but based on today and her going MIA for most of the race, I'm just not sure that she's maybe up for it. I don't know. Maybe I'm judging her a bit harsh, but like she has quite a few places to make up in the GC if she wants to, be a contender. And Longo Borghini, same deal. She's quite a strong TTer. Is she going to do well up the climb? She might. Demi, I reckon she'll be a hot one for it. She showed that she has been strong the last couple of days, but Marlen, she's just been sitting pretty. She was just in that front group most of today. She wouldn't have touched the front at all. She looks like she was doing it easy. So I think Marlen's got it hands down, and then it'll be a scramble for the rest, like you said, Sarah. Like, how much time are all these other contenders going to lose? And then where does that place them in the GC hopes? Because I think, if Pauline loses 35 to 40 seconds on Marlen, that's a huge, big shake-up in that top 5. So it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be hot. It's going to be fast, and I can't wait to see the tech. I'm a tech geek. I love it. So I want to see all the 3D printed bars and all the crazy disc wheels that they've got.
I'm really interested to see how they go managing the caffeine strategy. Like, the favourites are going off all around 5 p.m, between 5 and 5:30 p.m. Normally you would be taking so much caffeine for a stage like this because it's a key GC stage. But say you gain 10 seconds by having an extra 100 milligrams of caffeine compared to what you might normally have, which people would definitely do in a time trial. I mean, that's going to cost you more than 10 seconds if you blow up on stage 5, which has the potential for you to lose minutes and minutes. So it is a hard balance. It'll be interesting to see what recovery protocols, if we can see that, what recovery protocols they have to try and cool down after, get the body temperature to drop back to, that can really affect your sleep. If you finish at 6 p.m, it's not just the adrenaline and the hype, it's also like the physical activity that's happening in your body with the caffeine, that going so hard, the heat. So that's something really they have to pay attention to tomorrow.
Because says unless it's like an aerodynamic water bottle, which a lot of riders will take just empty, would you take any water on this? Would you take any fluid on this ride?
Well, you have to have a little bit of water in your empty bottle, because otherwise it's considered an aerodynamic fairing and it's not allowed. So I think I would take a bottle with a tiny bit of water so that it was allowed, but I wouldn't drink it.
Yeah, see, that's like, people don't realize. You go, like, try everyone listening at home, sit in Zwift, jump on Zwift, don't have a fan, go all out as hard as you can in 38-degree heat for a bit under 30 minutes, and one, see how you go, and secondly, at 6 p.m, see if you can sleep after that and how well you cover. Like, it is a brutal test, and that's why I think we're just going to see two halves, a very, very split halves on how riders approach this. Majority of the peloton are going to be having a very, in italics, they've still got to make time cut, easy day. But we're going to have at least 15 to 20 riders then at the other spectrum going all out. Zoe Backstead, we would assume, will set the early tone. It's then going to be Anna van der Breggen. She'll be the first who goes off. And referring back to what I was saying with some of the other rides, she actually is surrounded by a lot of riders. She could catch at least 3 riders in front of her. So that will really help her as well. So, we spoke a lot about tactics and where you're going to be placed in GC for this stage. And there's a couple of riders who are better placed than others to be able to take advantage of that.
It's interesting.
One thing from today that we should go back to quickly, because I was thinking of GC competitors who's wearing which special skin suit. I think the only one of the GC riders in one of the organization's skin suits is Puck Peterson. So we should say today she went for the QOM points, not just on one climb, but on a couple, but the main points came from that big climb early on that we missed. And yeah, congrats to Puck for taking the polka dots today. Look out for her tomorrow in the special red and white jersey. What were you saying, V?
I was just going to say that, like you said about recovery, I saw something that St. Michelle are sponsored by Scratch Labs, and they've been not only doing like a weigh test after each stage to determine how much water that they've lost, but they're also doing like a blood prick test to see how much like plasma and blood volume that they've lost as well, because they are hypothesizing that it's not just the like the water loss, it's also the blood volume that has the most effect. And so I was saying the other day about how are these small teams going to deal with the heat, and everyone, we were kind of agreeing that everyone's kind of risen up to this level. I think all these small teams are taking this heat really seriously. And so I think when we say about it's going to be a really tough effort, it's going to be half an hour potentially in the baking sun. It'll be really interesting to see who recovers well after it, because the riders have had 2 days of baking. This is the third, and then it'll be the fourth, and that's a lot for your body to go through. And especially if you've been up at altitude and you're not used to the heat, it could have huge impacts. And maybe that's why Anna van der Breggen was off, missing today. Maybe it's heat related. But yeah, it's just something to think about as we go on the next stages.
I have to say, Anna van der Breggen, I saw her on stage 1 right at the start, and I'm just remembering from last year, I saw her around a little bit more than I'd expect at the back of the peloton. So given how the peloton looked like they were asleep and then suddenly Kim was lighting fireworks up, maybe it was a positioning thing. Maybe the bunch wasn't huge, but if you're at the back, I can tell you hit a wall like that, a narrow little wall, you're stuck behind so many people, you can't even see the front of the bunch. So yeah, for her sake, I'm hoping that she was just out of position. We'll see tomorrow.
And I loved that. I loved that Demi Vollering looked around and just tried to stick the knife in already to Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, thinking she'd drop her. Like, they were still like 30 Ks from home, and no one was going to chop off. But I love that mentality that she's already looking at her, seeing what strips she can take off her already. We head into stage 4. The individual time trial, very, very important for a lot of these riders. Who's done the work? We're going to find out. A big thank you to Join Cycling. Check them out at join.cc/domestiques. And you can get 20% off Black Sheep by using the promo code Domestiques. I've been loving riding around France and Switzerland in such bright, beautiful kit. Makes me happy. Says and B, anything else before we head into your domain, Gigante? On stage 4.
I think another shout out. Well, now I need to get her name up, but that Polish rider, amazing, Malwina Mull from Cofidis. Again, did she come ninth? So she came 22nd on stage 1, and then 2 top 10s, both yesterday and today. She's 22 years old. Oh, super impressive. I'm keen to see how she goes tomorrow. But so far, she's doing really well in the GC. So there's my Smokey. I don't know if she can time trial, but I'm cheering her on.
Also to Ostalaza from L'Oreal. She was the Euskadi team, the small Spanish team. She was 4th on the stage, which means she was 2nd to Marion Vos in the...
I was impressed with that.
In the bunch, which was... hopefully she gets signed to a higher team very shortly.
One more impressive thing, and yes. I know because I'm feeling rather inspired, having broken my leg in the past year. Haugset actually fractured her hip with 60 kilometres to go in Paris-Roubaix this year. Finished the race, which had 20 kilometres more cobbles.
Oh.
And look at her. Now she's just come back, won a stage of the Tour. So, yeah, to make that impressive ride even more impressive, she broke her hip this year. Apparently it was this year. I didn't fact check that, but that's what Jose Bean said. So hopefully she was right.
Love it. All right, team. Thanks so much for your time. We will see you tomorrow. Massive thank you to listening. Thanks, team.
Fact check. It was last year because she didn't even do Paris-Roubaix this year. So let's go with last year, but it's still amazing.
Gigante, I got to go to bed. Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
I can't
All right.
leave myself on
Stop doing
incorrect.
shout outs to all your friends in the pillow. Thanks, team. Chat to you later. Bye for
All
now.
right. Ciao, 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 ciao.